Well, good evening, everybody. This is Kenny Fogle. Glad you could join us here on Central Kentucky TV Channel 6. Glad you could be here tonight on Political Profile, and we're going to be talking a little bit about politics. We got November 4th is obviously the election day coming up, but we got a lot to do between now and then. And the number one thing we're going to do is meet our candidates, because we're going to be voting on November 4th, and you got to know who you're voting for and why you're voting for. And we hope we can be informative and let you know that. So we've got our two candidates here tonight, and certainly want to welcome them, Donna Molyneux, the challenger tonight, and the incumbent, Barbara Tishner. And Barbara, I'll let you go ahead and tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm Barbara Bishop Tishner, lifelong resident of Nelson County. I grew up in the Bloomfield-Chaplin area, graduate of Nelson County High School. My husband is Rod Tishner. We have two sons, Matt and Alex, and a daughter-in-law now, Grace. My father was Johnny Bishop of Bloomfield. My stepfather was Harold Dennis. They both passed. My mother, Doris Dennis, lives in Bardstown. My in-laws are Joe Muggs Tishner and Sonia. I've been PVA since 1997. Worked in the office before that for Toby Head and Harold Metcalf.
All right. Well, Donna, introduce yourself to the world today.
I'm Donna Molyneux. I'm married to Rick Molyneux. I have two children who are 10 and 16. I have an accounting degree from Bellarmine College, an associate in computer science. I have a real estate broker's license. I've worked in the banking field for 25 years, specializing in commercial loan review. And I'm about ready to retire from that. I'm kind of tired of traveling. So I'm looking to, the reason I wanted to run for PVA is I wanted to find some local, something that I could do in the community to help the community. I enjoy politics. I enjoy working in the public. Mm-hmm. So I decided with my background that PVA would be the job that I'd be most qualified for.
Okay, well, we'll come back to that a little bit about wanting to run for the office. But right now, Barbara, just tell us a little bit about, I think a lot of people, and me included, probably doesn't know what all the duties of the PVA are. What does a PVA do?
The duties of the PVA is to assess all property in the county and all property at fair cash value, whether it be boats, cars, inventory, homes, farms, farmland, commercial properties, small mom and pop business up to a factory. So that is the duty of the PVA, to assess at 100% fair cash value all property in the county.
Okay. Well, Donna, this job's a little more unique than a lot of them that we've seen. I think it's one of the few that you actually have to take a test for.
Correct.
About a year in advance, I think, on top of that. And so why is it you need to take a test for this job?
Well, I mean, personally, I think you ought to take a test for all public offices just so that you make sure that there's a certain degree of competency there. And that's what this is. It's a competency test. Mm-hmm. It's given once a year. There's 100 multiple choice questions. It took me about 3 hours to complete it. Mm-hmm. There was thousands of people there from all over the state. I don't know if that's true, but I heard when I was taking it, there was about a 20% pass rate.
Now that's a tough job. Well, obviously you passed it, or you wouldn't be here.
Yes, I passed
it.
And
you mentioned, just touched on it a few minutes ago, is why would you want to run for this office? And what is it? Anything particular about this office, or what is it you want to do?
Because I'm an accountant. I've worked in banking. In my banking career, I specialized in commercial loan review, which involved reviewing appraisals and dealing with property. Mm-hmm. I have a real estate broker's license, and I just felt like if I was going to run for office, this would be the job I'd be most suited for. Okay.
Well, Barbara, you've been in it for several years, so obviously you like it. Mm-hmm. You ran for it again, so you want to do it again. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's a question or not, but basically, is it something you've enjoyed doing, or something you just feel like you do?
I do. I really do enjoy it. It feels like a service to the taxpayers. I've got the experience. They see don't see a stranger. They see recognize my face. They know my door is open. If they have any questions, they can call or come in anytime. We don't have to make appointments. But I feel like the taxpayers deserve to have their problems heard. Mm-hmm. Most of the time when they come into our office, they are upset over a car assessment or a real estate assessment or something that's going on with them. And it takes a unique personality to be able to sit and listen to their complaints, calm them down, and then explain the facts behind it, the laws behind it, and come to resolution if we can.
And not what you see as the most pressing issue of this job. So what is it, something?
Well, a couple things I'd like to see is I'd like to see more education on the public, because I'm not a fan of taxes. You know, we pay taxes, we fill up our gas, our cell phone, or we're getting bombarded every day with them. And there are certain things that people can do to help lower their tax assessed value that's legal. And I just want, it's like the homestead exemption. If you're 65 years or older, you can reduce your tax assessed value currently by $36,000. If you're 100% disabled,
But you have to ask
you get
for it.
that. But it's not automatic. You have to fill out a form, and and if you're disabled, you have to fill that out every year. So I want to be out there trying to reach people. There's a lot of people that don't know that. You know, they don't know. I want to go to the senior centers and talk to them, make sure they're getting this. I want to go set up a table in front of Kroger's on Senior Day and be there and be out there educating people about these things. There's a lot of people, because I've been talking to people I've been going to the fair, to festivals in Howardstown and Fairfield. I was out at Buttermilk Days. They don't know that the PVA can adjust their car for high mileage. People don't know these things. So I think it's real important that we get that message out and educate our community.
Barbara, basically the same question. Is there any particular issues you think that need to be changed, or something you like the way things are going like now, or just what do you see as
Well, there's always room for improvements in anything, in any job. You're always looking for something new, a better way to do things. We do advertise for the homestead exemption in the local paper. We do put that information in every tax notice that we send out. It doesn't go in the tax bills because we don't have authority over those. But we do put them in the assessment notices that we mail out. We have them on our counter. We, try to get that information out as much as we can. And it is an information game. We have a website where there's a lot of information available there to the public for free.
Okay, well, how is tax assessments? How do they work? I mean, I've always heard that they assess an area every 5 years or every 3 years. How does that work?
Your tax assessment is based on the condition of your home or your property as of January 1st. That's the assessment date for every property, whether it's your car, your business inventory, or your home. We are on a quadrennial review, which means that we review properties over a 4-year period. We also put new construction on annually, and we also do deed transfers annually to keep up with those new sales.
Okay. Well, Donna, these assessments, obviously, that's something that could be controversial. Obviously, if somebody thinks is that something that you would think that is a controversial, or is that something pretty scientific? Or
It's not scientific. It's an appraisal. Since I've got a little bit of an appraisal background too, by taking the apprentice appraisal school classes, is actually an opinion of value. It's an opinion. It's not an exact science. You do have certain tools that you use to arrive at that value. But I think it's important that I would err on the lower end. If you've got a range, I would try to give the people the benefit of the doubt, within a reason. But you got to be consistent. I think it's very important that you're fair and treat everybody equally. And it's not who you are or who you think you are, that you have a method of doing this and it's fair to everybody and you're consistent in using that method.
Okay, I guess that's one of the biggest questions, obviously, is the fairness issue of it, because obviously there's some subdivisions or some areas that are more, I guess, more affluent than others, so they're going to be assessed higher.
And there's also the issue these days of foreclosures and how they've affected the values. And are they being considered? If you're in a subdivision and 7 houses on your street have been foreclosed on, you need to consider that. It does affect your value, especially if they bought them for investment and they've turned them into rental property.
Well, property taxes, Barbara, obviously is one of the biggest issues in the county, because it's the fuel for basically how I think the county gets the majority of its income.
It's the funding stream for the county and the schools in particular.
So those are, I'm sure that's what I'll say. But you mentioned earlier when we first opened that you do get a few people come in and visit, and they're not always in the best of moods when they come in.
Right.
So what is their biggest complaint when somebody comes in?
Well, most of the time people don't like any increase in taxes. when tax bills go out, they will call us and say, my bill is more. And they don't understand that even though the assessment has not changed, the rates have been increased. The school usually takes a 5%, 4% increase. The county has held their tax rate steady for quite a while, but it still adds up to an increase overall in their tax bill. So that we have to explain that and educate them on where the increase is coming from. But we do increase assessments each year.
Well, Donna, you say you're out campaigning, like you mentioned, you go around to Howardstown, just different places. When you're talking to people about the PVA office, what is the biggest complaint or the comment you hear?
Well, I hear a lot about, and I don't know, you just said you increase assessments each year. I'm not sure what that meant. I mean, but that's one of the things people were talking about, because there's been a decline in the real estate market in 07, but I can't find anybody whose assessment went down. It's not against the law to lower an assessment if it's substantiated. And I don't know, has Nelson County been exempt from this economic downturn? I don't know. I don't think so. So it's kind of strange, and I don't know why you would say you increase assessments every year. I've heard that they're kind of froze in a declining environment, and that's really not necessary. If you should be a fair current market value.
So you believe that the possibility that you should be able to decrease
if it's justified, and within the last, things have gotten better, the market's starting to stabilize, but I'd say 07, 08, 09, there could have very well been declining values. There was.
Well, would this work in with the 4-year cycle, or how would that work?
Yes. And there are decreases in property assessments. It's not that we don't do that. Okay. We have not gone in and we have done in some areas, some subdivisions, blanket decreases just because of the sales. But I don't believe that our assessments were overvalued to begin with. They have held steady instead. But if anyone has a current appraisal or anything to justify a decrease, then they're welcome to come in and we can talk about it.
Okay. Well, I understand that this, was it May of each year when somebody wants to come in and what's the process then?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
So is that a state thing, or is that
apparently, yeah.
There is an inspection period that is called. That's the official time period. It's 13 days in May, starting the first Monday in May.
Yeah.
That is the official time where you can come in for a conference with me or one of my deputies, and you have until 1 day after that to file a tax appeal. You can conference with me or one of my deputies anytime before that.
But that's a state?
That is a state open inspection. It used to be that they didn't have computers.
Why do they have such a limited window?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They used to not have computers, not have access, and people would come in and actually look at the handwritten tax roll and inspect the tax roll that way.
Yeah.
That statute is still on the books, and that is the official time frame for anyone that is wishing to officially file a complaint, tax appeal.
13 days in May. Sounds like
13
a movie.
days in May, yes.
Kenny, another thing that I hear from the people is not being able to look up a value online. I mean, in today's environment, these are public records. You can go into the office if you want to take off work, and was it 8:30 to 4, whatever the hours are?
8:30 to 4:30.
To Monday through Friday, if you've got that luxury to be able to do that. But you ought to be able, I mean, in Jefferson County, you can look it up online.
Well, that was my next question. When you get into that office, there's something you see needs to be changed or moved or what?
Yeah, free online access. I mean, it makes no sense that we have to charge people. The minimum is $25 for 1 month access, and I got $275 for a year. The realtors would love to be able to look up these values, the banks, the appraisers, even individual. If you're out shopping, if you're a buyer and you're out looking at houses, a lot of them want to know, just get a ballpark idea.
Yeah.
They drive by, they don't know how much this house is. They can look it up, There's no reason why this should be a secret.
Okay.
It's not a secret, but most of our website subscribers are commercial users. They are using the assessments and the information for a commercial purpose, making money off of that.
It's still public record. If they want to come in, they could get it.
And part of the information is available. We do not provide our assessments online because there are companies who would data mine everything we had and sell that information.
Why does Jefferson County do it?
There are differences in each county. Jefferson County, I think, has just changed their website too. Hardin County has just changed theirs. We will provide for anyone who is interested, a taxpayer wanting to know what their assessment is, what their neighbor's assessment is. We will provide that information. If they want to call us, we'll give it to them over the phone. We will provide that to them for the cost of a copy, 25 cents a copy in the office. We have 4 computer terminals in the office, and all of the map cards are open for public record.
Right, it's public record.
It's public record that way. But our online access is governed by a statute that says we can charge for commercial use.
You can, sure, but I just don't think you should.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It's no different in going
Right.
in and getting it free. Why do you know, I don't see because they're commercial, they can't use the computer to do it, but yet they can come in and get it, you know.
Okay, well, that brings up another point, is that the PVA basically is a statewide, there's a PVA office in every state, but is it really different? Is every county a little different, or how does PVA work? As
We're
far as
all
that goes?
governed by the same statutes. We are all overseen by the Department of Revenue.
Right.
They check everyone's assessments. We're biennial audits. Everything we do has to be verified and certified by the Department of Revenue. But the local management of each office is left up to the
Their
PVA.
websites, I've looked at several in different
I was
counties
gonna
to
ask
try
you
to
if you looked at
compare.
other counties and see
Oh,
what-
yeah, well, several. And they're all a little different. Bullitt County at least gives you the sales price, so that's kind of nice to know too, what they paid for it. That gives you a little information. We don't even have that.
Yeah.
We have basically who owns it and the track number or something. There's very little information.
Okay. Well, anything else you think that really needs to be looked at right away, or is it something that just simply needs improvement, or just needs to be a change in the face in there? Is what you're
You know,
thinking?
I'm just thinking, you know, I am amazed. I admire Barbara for being in a position for 34 years. I mean, that's just, you don't see it anymore. It's an accomplishment, and to come out of high school and have the position you have is commended. I mean, I see that a little bit in the banks. You can't do that anymore. You know, I think it's great. But I think it's time maybe to get somebody fresh, you know, and look at things a little differently, and that's what I want to do.
All right. Well,
I haven't had the position for 34 years.
No, you just been in the office.
I have worked in
I
the
didn't
office.
say you had- I said you've been in the
Yeah,
office.
I was going to say, I did start the
Yeah.
year after I graduated high school, and then worked for Toby Head, and then he retired,
Yeah.
and Harold Metcalf until he retired. So
I'm gonna say both of you had to be 12 years old. So.
No, but it's you can't do, you don't, you know, like I said, I've seen people, I know some people in banking that have made it out of high school to market president, and you just can't do that anymore. You
Well,
know,
times are changing, and you touched on 2 different things. One is longevity and technology. Technology is obviously changing the world. I mean, because things are going more computerized, and I don't know if it's less people touch, but that's something I think everybody.
and
thinks
time,
is
everybody's time is valuable now. People don't want to pick up the phone. You know, everything's going text or computer, and yeah, you can call in and get this information, but people don't want to do that anymore. You know.
All right. Well, we do appreciate you both being here. If you, I want to leave you both with any final comments, questions, any final words to the voters about what you want them to know about. What does the world need to know about Donna Molyneux right now that they don't already know?
Well, I think I've touched on the few things that I'd like to accomplish in office. So I would just like to ask for your vote. I'm happy to be here and glad to have this opportunity.
Barbara, is there any final words that people need to know about Barbara Tishner?
well, like I said, I think experience is the key. I've proven myself in office to be someone who will listen, and someone who would be willing to sit down with anyone at any time to discuss their concerns over their property tax assessments. Like I said before, I can't promise you that I can lower your taxes, but I will promise you I will work hard to be the best PVA that you have, and I would appreciate your vote on November 4th.
Barbara, Donna? Appreciate you all being here.
Thank
I
you.
wish you both the best, and we wish you the best for making the decision, because it's in your hands, and that's the hardest part, making a decision. So we do appreciate you tuning in, and we're going to be doing this again very soon with more candidates, more issues, and more topics. So stick around. A lot more to come on CKTV. And I'm Kenny Fogel. Have a great evening. We'll see you next time here on Central Kentucky Television.